EA Sports. It's in the game.
What's going on, everyone? Your host AMF 1534 here. Welcome to a game that I love so incredibly much, and part of it's because of how awesome that opening video sequence is. It's got to be in my top 3 for best opening sequences in a sports game ever. And if you think about it, for being 15 years old, the CGI that they had in the opening seconds of that was actually really good. Just visually fantastic. And then one of the other things that I really enjoyed about that was getting to see how some of the team logos have evolved over the last 15 years. Like, just some of the ones that come to mind immediately were, it's really weird to see the Florida Marlins logo now that they've changed into the Miami Marlins, which is just, it's just uncomfortable and awful to me. And then there's also the old Tampa Bay Devil Rays logo. They should have totally stuck with that, because that is way cooler than the one that they have right now. And there's like the Anaheim Angels logo from back in 2000, way cooler than the one they have now. And now they've done this whole Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim thing, which still doesn't make any sense to me at all. But the one that really stands out the most to me is the knowledge that back in the year 2000, the Montreal Expos were still a team in the major leagues. That's the one that really gets me, because it takes me back to the old days when I was in Little League and in juniors for baseball, and my team was the Montreal Expos. Those were my teams all the way through there, and so just it was like a walk through, kind of a walk through nostalgia lane there. So I apologize ahead of time, by the way. I had really anticipated filming this a lot earlier than I am right now, but I actually ran into a problem. I actually got locked out of my office for a few hours because my doorknob apparently just fucking died. Like, it wore out and it doesn't work anymore. And so my dad and I actually had to physically take the door apart so that I could get in here by taking the pins out of the hinges. And we had a pretty big issue with that too, so this ended up being a lot later than I wanted. But you know what? We're here and it's all good. So this whole series is actually a really spontaneous thing for me. Like, I thought about doing this series just today at work. Like, it wasn't something that I had really planned at all. And so bear with me here. But we're smack dab in the middle of MLB All-Star Weekend right now. And within 24 hours, the Homerun Derby is going to be going on. And I was perusing Twitter while I was at work today, and the big conversation that's been going on for the last few years is how can we make the Homerun Derby better? Because the popularity of the Homerun Derby has been dwindling a lot in the last few years. And I think that part of it's because there's not really the same amount of star power that there used to be compared to, like, say, 15 years ago. Back in the year 2000, you had players like Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa and Mike Piazza and Ken Griffey Jr. and Barry Bonds. You had guys like that, Hall of Fame players, that were participating in the Homerun Derby. And you think about who's taking part in it this year, you have Albert Pujols, which he's a superstar, but there's virtually no other big-name guys after that. You've got, let's see, like, some of the other contestants are Jock Peterson, Manny Machado, Todd Frazier, which I guess he won it all last year, and there's let's see, like Josh Donaldson. Like they're all up and coming players, but there's no other like big name guys for like the casual fan to be like, oh my god, I need to watch the Home Run Derby so I can see this guy play. And so I think that's part of the reason why it's really lost a lot of luster, because there's just no more like big name guys that you can get behind for that. And so when I heard the conversation come up of how can we improve the Derby, the first thing that popped into my head was, you know what video game really did the Home Run Derby justice? Triple Play Baseball 2001. Because this extreme mode in the Big League Challenge, I kid you not, I don't want to be cheesy when I say it, but they took the concept of the Home Run Derby and they totally hit it out of the park. It is so much fun. It really is. It's a totally different, fresh look on how Home Run Derbies work. You can still do the traditional ones in tournament and one-on-one mode, but this extreme mode is just wild, man. So what we're going to do over the next few episodes here is I'm going to have a little bit of a competition against the computer. There's 4 different levels in this extreme mode Home Run Derby, and I'm going to see I'm going to see if I can beat the computer in a 4-game series. And if in the event that we tie 2-2, I have an ace in the hole that will be it'll be the sudden death tiebreaker. So we're going to play in rookie mode because I haven't played this game in like 5 or 7 years. No, not 6. I'm just skipping over it just because I feel like it. So I'm going to be undoubtedly probably pretty rusty at this. And we're going to play 3-inning games because if you get on a roll in Home Run Derby, you can be playing for a while. So I don't want to keep you guys here for the next 30 years because 5, 7, and 9-inning games get really tedious and a little bit repetitive. So I want to try to keep it nice and easy. And I'm also going to be the quote-unquote home team just because I want to be the last one to bat, so that way if I need to, I can win in dramatic walk-off fashion. So you can pick any player that you want that was in the league at the time, and you can also pick legendary players as well. Which, the unfortunate part for this is that all these guys are so overpowered that it almost makes the Home Run Derby in this mode, it almost kind of ruins the fun of it, because these guys can hit home runs that are like 550 feet. I'm not kidding. They can really blast it, and they'll do that almost half the time, so it gets pretty ridiculous. So we're gonna stick with guys that aren't those guys, and I'm gonna try to not give myself a super, advantage, because I want there to be good competition. So we'll have Chipper Jones be the computer. Good old ageless ass Chipper Jones. And then I'm totally going to be Ken Griffey Jr. just because he's my dog. I was never really a Seattle Mariners fan growing up, but I was always, Ken Griffey was always my dog, so I'm super down with that. Now, I'm sure you guys are probably asking the question, hey Adam, what's the big difference between a regular Home Run Derby and this extreme mode that you're talking about? Well, I will let this picture explain most of it. So pretty much what it is instead of just having a standard ballpark and you just try to hit as many home runs as you can, they got all these targets slathered around all over the place. And so they also implement a different scoring system as well. Instead of it just being if you can hit more home runs than the other guy, it's not really so much that anymore. It's how many points you can accrue. So what they do is when you hit a home run, they give you 1 point per every 2 feet of your home run. So if you hit a 500-foot home run, they give you 250 points for it. And then they'll tack on additional points if you hit a target during your home run. So, and then they give you a set amount of points for whichever one it was and the difficulty of that target. So like the huge one that's way up there up top, you get 500 points for that just because of how hard it is to hit. And then like some of the easier ones, they'll give you like 100. So that's what makes this mode really cool. But the other thing that also makes this extra awesome is that the other levels will actually take you to different environments and areas. So you got the standard baseball field like Cashman Field here. The other one is the construction site. This is arguably my favorite one in the whole game. It's super cool. You still have the targets to hit there, but you also get different environmental targets to hit as well. There's like the billboard there on the brick wall. There's a crane you can hit. There's like moving cars in the street in left field that you can hit. There's like windows you can bust back there. So there's a lot of other objectives you can do outside of just hitting the targets. There's the medieval castle level, which is actually really funny that they say that it was built in the year 1228. I always thought that was funny. This is actually my least favorite one out of all the ones in the game, just because they're like the targets, they're a lot harder to hit, and there's not as many of them. It's still a fun one to play anyways, though, just because of the theme that it has. It's pretty cool. And then I think this actually might be my favorite one. It's tied with the construction site, but it might have a bit of an edge, is the living room level. This is the last out of the 4 of them, and this one is chaos, but it's so much fun. Like, as you can see down there, the bases are CDs, and there's actually no physical circular targets here. They're all just items in the house. So you've got, like, the TV is a target. You can hit the ball into the fireplace, and that's a target. There's a clock up there on the mantle. That's a target. There's a dog sleeping behind left center field. That's also a target. There's pictures and photographs on the dining room table in the kitchen. Those are also a target. So it kind of gives like a fresh new spin on how the whole thing works. But in this episode tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to start it all off on Cashman Field, just so you can get kind of an idea of how this all works. And I truly apologize, by the way, for how much talking I've been doing. I know that it's been like 11 minutes of me doing just that, and it's probably kind of annoying, but I kind of got ahead of myself, and I just wanted to make sure that I clarified exactly how this is different. So, yeah, you know, when I'm passionate about something, you guys know, I just start rambling my fucking gums, and I can't stop myself, so. But, you know, I think that this is like it's a realistic thing that I think the major leagues could implement someday, that could kind of reinvent the entire Home Run Derby experience. But I totally understand why they would never do it, because I think a lot of the fun of the Home Run Derby is the fans being able to sit out in the bleachers out there in the outfield and have the fun of being able to be out there and catch the ball and hold it up and be super excited and all of that. And, if you were to implement a system like this, you'd be taking that away from them. So I get why they'll never do it. But the thing that makes me think that they could, and it would still work, is, I mean, think about how awesome this idea is. I mean, you could still take all the fans and, pack them in behind home plate and, down the foul lines, because think about how cool of an idea this is. You're having your favorite baseball players just crushing the living hell out of the ball, and you're trying to hit targets, and you have a different point system, and it's all displayed out there, and it's really cool. So that's why I think it could still work. I would totally go to a Home Run Derby if that's how it was. So, yeah, man. But let's see if we can come out with a W on this. It looks like Chipper Jones literally did absolutely nothing in the top of the inning there. So we have a prime chance to build up a nice, healthy lead right now. So the way that the structure works with the innings, it's actually kind of like a real baseball game. You have 3 outs, and once you get your 3 outs, the inning's over. So that's what makes it a little bit different from the traditional Home Run Derby, is that in those, they usually will give you 10 outs to hit as many home runs as you can, and then once you get your 10th out, the round is over. But here, they just do it that way. You get 3 outs, then your half of the inning's over. The other guy goes, he gets 3 outs, his half of the inning's over. And then you just go until the desired amount of innings is over. And then whoever's got the most points is the champion. That's damn, we got a bullseye right there? That was awesome. So that's just kind of the nature of the beast here. And it's really cool. Especially when you get on a roll. Like when you start doing what I'm doing right now and you just keep on blasting them, it gets pretty crazy. There's something that happens if you hit 10 home runs in a row, but I don't remember what it is, mainly because of how difficult it can be to hit 10 in a row like that. I've done it before. I don't remember what happens. I think that you get like a power increase for your bat. I'm just not quite sure. And I think you actually get like a red lightsaber effect on it. Don't quote me on that, though. If it happens, then we'll find out, but I don't know if it actually will or not. Damn. So it looks like we hit our 3rd out there. But yeah, dude, I don't know. Hey MLB, if you guys are listening, think about this idea for a damn Home Run Derby. You will not regret it, I swear. Hi-ya! There we go. Damn, that is a bomb. Griffey coming out with the real artillery here. Ooh, yeah, we hit that guy right square in the ribs. Busted. Yeah, I actually, truth be told, I really haven't watched the Home Run Derby in, I'm going to say, probably 4 years. It really has been a while. For those exact reasons that I mentioned in the very beginning of this video. There's nobody that I can gravitate towards. And, like, I watch the major leagues pretty regularly. So it's not like I'm just, like, the casual fan. Like, I'm a pretty diehard guy. It's just that there's not, like your generational players like that. There are some really good players in the league. There's, Mike Trout, and you've got like Albert Pujols, and you've got, other great players out there, but you just don't have, but like those guys aren't participating in this thing. Like a lot of your really good home run guys aren't taking place in this thing. And so that's what makes it kind of a bummer. You just end up having kind of your second and third tier guys that kind of jump into the fray. There we go. It looks like we already won this one. I'm surprised they're actually having me do a round. Because, I mean, we technically can't lose at this point, but I guess they're just giving me the benefit of the doubt. They're letting me do my encore, so to speak. Pretty much whenever you get that camera view that I just got there, you pretty much are guaranteed to not hit a home run every time that one comes up. That's my favorite view, actually, is watching that one, the reverse camera view, when that goes on. Oh, through the gap. Damn. That's okay. At least I have the frame of mind knowing that at the end of this round, we will be ahead 1-0 in the Big League Challenge. I hate long foul balls like that. They make you feel so much worse about it. Like, oh, you beat the living hell out of the ball, but you've got to sit there and watch it just go all the way up and all the way down, knowing that you're going to get absolutely nothing for it. All right, my friends. Well, it looks like we have won our very first round of Big League Challenge, Home Run Derby, Extreme Mode, whatever you want to call it. So we are a whopping we're leading the series 1-0 is essentially what I'm trying to say here. There we go. I was going to say, what, did the thing freeze on me? So, I do apologize again for pretty much the better half of this video being me just talking. But when we come back on the next episode of Triple Play Baseball 2001, we are going to head into another couple rounds of Home Run Derby. So, when we come back, we're going to go into probably my favorite area of this whole thing, and we're actually going to pick some different players. We're going to go to the construction zone next time. So, until then, my friends, this is your host, AMF1534, saying thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care, everybody. Bye.